my friends. Here we are on another cheap-ass beer review with Dr. Dave. Now, remember, just because it's a cheap-ass beer doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad beer. It means it just didn't cost a lot of money. Now, before we have that beer, let me enjoy some ice water. Swish it around a bit. You always want to cleanse the palate before you begin a beer review. No doubt about it. It's not a head scratcher. It's just something you might want to do. So, for tonight's cheap-ass beer review, from the Miller Brewing Company, located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we have the Miller Lite. At one time, this was the best-selling beer in America. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's been overtaken by Corona. Not 100% sure about that, but I'll tell you a guy who knows for sure, Jay Terrio on Louisiana Beer Reviews. The guy's an expert on these types of beers, and what I mean by that is macro lagers. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description box, and you can peruse his channel and see what you think. But anyway, this checks in at 4.2% alcohol by volume. The date stamp on the bottom says we should enjoy this by April 11th of 2022. We're still in March, so we got about another month or so to enjoy this beer at its freshest. No doubt about that. While I open this, I'm going to tell you that probably about, well, you know what? I'm not going to guess how many years ago that was, but several years ago, Miller was acquired by Molson-Coors and is now operated by Molson-Coors. But all the plant equipment remained in place, and all the head brewers stayed, all the brewmasters. So this is, as far as I know, is still brewed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But again, you might want to check with Jay on that. For our sampling pleasures, we have Dr. Dave cheap-ass beer review glass, baby. Bam! Yeah, I designed that myself. It's rather chin seat, you know, to most people, but hey, I think I did a knockout job on it. Now, I will tell you that this beer proudly announces that this is only 96 calories in a 12-ounce serving. I was always of the opinion that if you were counting calories, you probably shouldn't be drinking beer at all. Just my opinion. Clear golden color. Now, some people call this a dishwater. I don't think it's dishwater, at least not the dishes I do. It made a little bit of a whitehead there. It's not going to stick around. Now, if you would pour this beer straight in from the get-go, yeah, we'd have 4 or 5 inches of foam, but that's not the objective. Let's see if we can pick up any aroma. Oh, I'll tell you what. I get a little bit of spiciness in here, and that's probably because this is brewed with Saaz Hops. Now, this is also brewed with corn syrup, which is dextrose, but not high fructose corn syrup, which is always an important selling point that brewers make. They brew with corn syrup, but not that high fructose corn syrup. So, hey, we're going to thank the brewers at Miller Brewing Company, part of Molson-Coors, because I don't care if a beer is computerized, it's still a lot of hard work and detail goes into brewing every batch. So cheers to those brewers, and cheers to you at home for watching, no doubt. Well, I tell you one thing. I've never had this beer, but I expected it to be horrible because I've heard so many stories about this beer. You either love it or you hate it. Well, I don't love it and I don't hate it. I'm somewhere in between. But it's not offensive to me. And what I mean by that is it's not horribly sweet. I don't get any sweetness at all, considering that there's some corn syrup in here. I get a little bit of bitterness, and it has to be from those Saaz hops. Now, they don't use pounds and pounds and pounds of Saaz hops on here. I can guarantee you that much. But it's in there, and it's lightly carbonated, too. Very light bodied, though. I hesitate to say watery. I don't like to say any beer is watery, although all beers are brewed with water. Yeah, that's the main component in beer, which some people would be surprised to find that out. You see, I'm still drinking it. Other than that very slight spiciness in the aroma right there in the nose, and that slight bitterness, and I'm talking about slight, there's nothing that makes this beer special or unspecial, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call it. Now, I don't think I have my stir stick in here, do I? No, but I tell you, no, no, I'm not going to use that as a bottle opener. Um, if we were to put the stir stick in here, and I thought that I brought it in here, but apparently not. Hmm. You know what? I can. No, I'm not going to use that. um, if I put the stir stick in there, this would look quite lovely. Yeah, this is good for backyard barbecues and picnics. And right after work, you could definitely down a can of this. By the way, I didn't tell you, a 24-ounce can. In the rest of the industrialized world, 750 milliliters, no doubt about it. 4.2%. I can understand why people drink this all the time. Now, the only problem is that drinking it out of the bottle or the can, yeah, that might be convenient and thirst quenching and all that, but eventually it's going to make your stomach bloated. That's why so many people drink a couple and they say, oh, I feel bloated. Well, that's why. You have to release the CO2 that's in this beer, and the only way you can do that is really to pour it aggressively out of the can. A straight in pour would produce quite a bit of foam on this, but that would definitely release the CO2. You see, it's not building that head up, but it's better than drinking it straight from the can. I can't find anything offensive about this beer at all. And because I can't find anything offensive, I'm forced to give it a 5-star review. Now, some people are going to say, well, what the hell is he talking about? That beer is like water. Well, I did tell you that beer is water. Yeah. The only time I'm going to take some points off, which would be a star rating, is if there's something really wrong with the beer, and I can't find anything wrong with this beer. I'm trying, but I can't. Now, keep in mind, this beer is straight out of my refrigerator, which right now is about 37 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure what that is straight off in Celsius, but it's cold. Yeah, it's cold in my hand. That's why I switched hands a couple times. Yeah, it's ice cold. That's where the term ice cold beer comes from. Very decent, very decent. Now, the beer, I wrote it down here. I found it at my local Walmart for 24 12-ounce cans, 11.99. That is some cheap ass beer. So remember, you always take the price, which in this case is $11.99, and you're going to divide it. Well, not multiply it, Dave. You're going to divide it. You're cut off. You divide by the amount, which is 24 cans. And in this case, we can see that rounds to 50 cents for each can. That's what makes this a cheap ass beer, but it's not a bad beer to me. Will you see this in my cart at the grocery store? Most likely not. Would I drink this if I were at someone's party and it's all they had? To be sociable? Sure, why not? Would I have a second one? Absolutely not. Hey, life is short, be happy. Drink what you like and don't worry about what I say. What do I know? I'm just a guy, another guy in the world. What do I know about beer? Hey, until we meet next time, here's wishing all of you the very best of goodbyes. And as always, cheers.